that's the thing about Kristen. Like, she just naturally has a funny way about her. She's not trying to be funny. She doesn't self-produce herself. She just is so entertaining. It's like the difference between her, a Stassi, a Paige. It's like what makes somebody a natural reality star that we want to watch. Like, people often would say, like, Paige is a good example on Summer House. Like, she's not even doing anything, but yet, like, we're all tuning in to see her because she's just got a way about her. Obviously totally different than Kristen, right? Her way and Kristen's way are different.
Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers? Amanda, people are loving your hat with the upside down cocktail.
Yay!
I don't know if you saw my order, but I had a few too many drinks, and I ordered, how many did I order? 20?
Oh, God, I need to go back and look.
I
did see it come through. It was when I was traveling, maybe? Yes.
I feel like I want to, like, personally mail a couple to cocktailers. Because I would have been able to just pick a couple cocktailers and then have this apparel company ship it.
Yeah.
I went ahead and ordered, I think 15 to 20. I can't remember. I was like, everybody needs this. And my sister-in-law, who's also drinking, was like, oh my God, I need one. And I'm like, yes, you do. And then I'm like, well, my brother will wear it. My husband will wear it. My other sister-in-law will wear it. Oh, I got to give it for my cousins. So I feel like I could have 2 to 3 cocktailers. So I'll make a post about that. That'll be fun.
I mean, who doesn't need a hat that says cocktails on it?
Yeah, cocktails. And then the back says cocktails and gossip.
Yeah.
So we love it.
Yay. So fun. Well, happy 4th of July, everybody. I am happy to say, guys, despite bees worrying about me, I survived a summer vacation with water sports. And although I was good about like not drinking too much before I wake surfed, did not get hurt, sent B a picture of me up on the wake surfboard that said I didn't die.
Yeah, after she sent me a picture of the surf sides, which I highly recommend. Aren't they so good?
They're so good. So we've tried the Sun Cruisers, which are also really good. But you're right. Those surf sides are just like an iced tea with alcohol. Like you don't taste the alcohol really. They're really good.
They're kind of dangerous. Oh, they're only 4.5%. So they're not really dangerous, but in the sun, if you have a couple, it's like it's a nice vibe. You feel calming.
So what are you guys doing for the 4th? How is vacation?
It's good. It is hot. So many flights were canceled. We got out, but we had family and friends meeting us here. Some made it, some didn't. We're going to be grilling, chilling, watching fireworks on the beach, like low key. There's a lot of us, so it's like easier just to do that than to try to organize. Because we're organizing meals every other night. Shout out to our follower, Joanne, who got me into Louis Bassi. I love Louis Bassi in Fort Lauderdale.
Ooh.
And she's told me before that she works there. So when I'm down here, I always shoot her a DM and she gets me in. Because it's like a popular place. It's hard to get in. So thank you, Joanne.
And you got, I'm sure, she got you a sizable group and not just you, right?
Yes. It was supposed to be bigger, but some of our friends their flight was canceled. So I think it was 16 of us. Yeah, so it was good. I know. We're always like, Amanda laughs because it's always
like deep, lady.
It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Well, I'm excited.
My daughter's like, can we order soul bowls? And I'm like, not for 20 people. Like, not on my phone. Adios.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep on moving, lady.
Yeah.
That's what I say to my kids. They're like, no, I will run you if you're dying for whatever, I will get it for you. But yeah, I'm so excited. I love the 4th of July. So.
What are you guys doing?
We are having some friends and family here at the house. We will be doing some fireworks, driveway fireworks that are illegal, but nothing too crazy because we have too many trees. But I love doing driveway fireworks. It's my favorite.
Of course you do. And I'm the one who sits in the house. Our friends always, if we're not away, they throw a big party. Some years we're here, some years we're home. And her husband does like real deal fireworks in the middle of the street. And I literally stay inside and watch from the window.
Yeah, I love to do like the real big ones, but we just, like I said, we have too many trees. I grew up in the Midwest where that's what you do on the 4th of July. It's more about the driveway show than it is about going to like a big public display. So
down here, they do it like, I guess the county does it on the beach somewhere out in the water. So that's cool. Yeah.
So no fire risk.
No fire risk.
Okay. So really good week of TV this week, starting with Kristen and Luke getting engaged on the Valley. Finally, a light and happy moment after a mostly dark season.
So dark. We'll get to that. So thrilled for her. And in real time, we know that Kristen and Luke welcomed their daughter. And I think we mentioned it on here, but I have to say it again. I joked a lot last season about how Luke was weird and I didn't like him. I have completely changed my mind. He makes Kristen so happy, and more than happy, he makes her feel she seems so settled and in her natural way with him.
Yeah.
Like a really stable, good partner who loves her for her, who doesn't try to like calm her or change her. Thrilled for her engagement, the birth of their daughter. We did see him a little bit bug out the night before. Listen, his grandmother was sick, combined with the nerves that we know must come with the guy having to ask and everything.
Yeah.
But Amanda, Kristen digging her heels in about not showering. Like you see Nia texting her pictures. Nia is so cute and sweet. And like, I think it's authentic.
Oh, I 100% think you can't put on an act like that constantly. I think Nia is one of those people who is just truly sees the good in people and wants the best for others.
And somebody sent me a DM yesterday. I shared it to stories that they spotted Danny, I guess, leaving the church they attend. They said with an older woman, either his mother or his mother-in-law, and that he was just like so sweet, and they said hello, and they're just sweet people. And so you see Luke's looking at her like, oh my God, you're not going to shower? We're about to get engaged. But that's the thing about Kristen. Like, she just naturally has a funny way about her. She's not trying to be funny. She doesn't self-produce herself. She just is so entertaining. It's like the difference between her, a Stassi, a Paige. It's like what makes somebody a natural reality star that we want to watch. Like, people often would say, like, Paige is a good example on Summer House. Like, she's not even doing anything, but yet, like, we're all tuning in to see her because she's just got a way about her. Obviously, totally different than Kristen, right? Her way and Kristen's way are different. But it just makes
I see what you mean, though.
They don't need a storyline because their personalities just are, like,
authentic.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and guys, by the way, like, Kristen's sitting there on camera and then knowing that she's going to be on camera on this boat ride and still I'm not going to shower.
Yes.
Most reality stars would have glam or at the very least put an hour and a half into their appearance knowing that they're going on a sunset boat cruise. This is why we love Kristen. And honestly, I really felt for Luke because, again, like thinking from his perspective, can you imagine trying to propose to someone with cameras around, with mics and producers?
And he's really new to reality television, so he's not as used to filming as, say, Kristen or Brittany.
Yeah. And then there's not to mention the, 8 other people who are completely unpredictable along for this trip. I can't imagine how nervous he was. Let's discuss Janet and her reaction to finding out that Kristen and Luke got engaged and that the trip was actually all about them. So Zac calls her and Janet at first is like, okay, to say like, hey, Kristen and Luke got engaged. They're coming back on the boat. We're throwing them a surprise party. And then Janet says, you know what? We're just not, we won't go to the party. But then you can see her start to spiral in her head. And she's like, we won't go on the boat the next day either. And it quickly becomes clear that Janet's offer to step out of the surprise party was not a consideration thing, but it was more her actually being pissed off because she realized that the trip was all about Kristen and Luke. I'm starting to think Janet is the kind of person who would wear white to a wedding just for the attention.
I bet she would. You know, she immediately is like, oh, how about when she was like, this is the longest I've ever left my son. Girl, he's a few months old. He isn't a 12-year-old. You haven't overcome a fear of leaving your child at the age of 15. And regardless, what does that have to do with anything? She's so pissed. As you said, spiraling, throwing a tantrum, saying how she can't do any activities anymore because it is now Kristen's trip. I also thought it was very funny to watch Jason get annoyed at it.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? We could skip dinner tonight, but we weren't excluded. We decided not to go. And tomorrow we can hang out. And it's about Kristen. It was Janet realizing, oh my God, this makes Kristen the star of the season. Because all the people headlines and all the headlines are going to be that she's got engaged. And she's not even pregnant yet. She must have really spiraled when she heard she was pregnant.
Yeah.
She's thinking to herself, the audience is going to love Kristen and be so happy for her and Luke. And she's just such a bitter Betty. I think the reason that all of us have a dislike for her is because you can be a person, and I'm going to bring up your BEC, Sheena, who has annoying traits or who has faults, as all of us do. None of us are perfect. But then there are some people who just don't have good intentions and are mean-spirited. And her husband is no better. And I did find it funny. It almost seemed like he was petrified that he was going to be stuck hanging out alone with her on the rest of the trip. And he was basically begging her to do group events, which I think is, I've said, like, I think they have more of a boring relationship than like anything going on there. But I don't know about you. If you're happily married and you have a beautiful hotel room in Hawaii, would it be the worst thing for your wife to be like, you know what? I mean, aside from the fact that she's acting like a baby and throwing a tantrum, but you know what? Like, let's charter our own boat. Let's go to our own dinner. Like, I would kind of welcome that with my husband. So I think it's very telling that Jason isn't interested in spending a couple of days alone with just her. Or does he love the camera time so much too?
That's what I think it is.
Yeah.
He realizes that if they don't go, they lose another day of camera time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's important to him.
Clearly. And he acts like it's not, and he's just there to support Janet, and, you know, he's a lawyer and whatever, but he's eating it up. Yes. I completely agree. So also, cocktailers have known for quite a long time that it was on this trip that Jesse and Aaron, so Aaron is Michelle's new boyfriend, that they actually are both on the trip, that they talk, and that they actually end up being kind of buddy-buddy, which we also know that really pissed off Michelle behind the scenes. So it was fun knowing that. Sometimes the spoilers, like, I think make watching the show more fun. And in this case it did, because just watching that whole scene where Jesse confronts Aaron, he asks him whether they were together emotionally or physically prior to Jesse and Michelle splitting up. So I am curious to get your take on this whole situation and what you think really happened.
I'm going to give my take, but I also think it's interesting to point out Michelle's reaction to Kristen's engagement. She was genuinely happy for her, even though she also at that time had issues with Kristen and wasn't happy that she brought Aaron's ex-girlfriend, or who we used to hook up with, around. And she had her own reasons. You know, Kristen and Lou have gotten very close to Jesse. She didn't throw a fit. She seemed genuinely happy. So that's the difference to me. And although I have my issues with Michelle, I don't see her as like mean-spirited through and through. She's also going through a very contentious divorce, which gives her, and her mother was dying during this, right. Whereas Janet is allegedly happily married with a new baby and is still so mean. So
credit where credit's due.
Yes. I thought it was interesting. You know, Aaron says absolutely nothing happened, but we did text a few times and we'd always run into each other. So, like, at a minimum, there was an emotional situation. I don't think Jesse is off base here. Jesse did not want this divorce. Jesse wanted to work it out. And I'm not saying that Michelle should have worked it out. I'm just saying we see where Jesse's coming from. I see Jesse is wrong. I see Michelle is wrong. I do feel that Aaron, to Jesse's face, makes things okay, but we watched him at dinner, like, bringing up all the bad things Jesse has done, and I do feel like him and Michelle know that it's easy to get a reaction and make Jesse look bad on camera, and they just go there. So I think all parties, and that includes Aaron. That includes Jesse's girlfriend, who, again, Michelle has made rumors about. We've seen her on camera. We know off camera she said stuff. So I think all parties, Jesse and his new girlfriend, Michelle and her new boyfriend, have to be willing to, like, put down the petty swords and move in the best interest of Isabella. I mean, and I can't help but feel like everybody on this show, Jackson, Brittany, and them, like, they're just weaponizing these little kids. And it's like, actually do it. Stop talking about how important it is that you're good for the kids and, like, try to be good for the kids.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. I know it's not easy. I'm not saying it is.
I don't agree with you that they're weaponizing the kids. I really do feel like Brittany has been doing her best to act in Cruz's best interests, because we know, like, Jax didn't actually reach out to see him, right? And that he's had a drug problem, he's been violent, and that she has let him see him just supervised. And I think since then it's obviously changed. But I think Jesse had a really valid point about posting on Father's Day, about Aaron posting his daughter, Jesse's daughter, on Father's Day. I thought that was, if anything, I think Aaron was kind of weaponizing Isabella a little bit in that situation. But I think it's really clear that everybody really loves Isabella. I think they're maybe fighting over who loves her more and who's better for her. But even Michelle says, like, he's a good dad. I think where things become problematic is when, if the parents are talking badly about the other parent in front of the child. And we don't know if that's happening. But I also just have to say, I think Isabella might be the most beautiful child I've ever seen.
She's really beautiful.
She's so gorgeous. She's just so cute.
And
she's,
I mean, Michelle is so beautiful. And I think Jesse's cute too.
Yeah.
So she's really like a perfect combination of both of them. I see a lot of both of them in her. I see Michelle, and then I also see Jesse, and like the lighter eyes, and yeah.
Yeah. I guess the question becomes, will he follow through on his promise to respect Aaron and Michelle in their relationship? And I'm guessing that's a no.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's a no.
So it is, as you guys know, it's 4th of July weekend, which means Summer House is starting to film. So hearing a lot of chatter about who the additions will be. I want to know what the inside tea is. We heard that Amanda Batula said one of the new cast members is somebody that we already know.
So, of course, it had me and the cocktailers going down rabbit holes in the DMs. And we had told you guys last year in Cocktail Party that Brian Benny, who was on Family Karma and Winter House, was on the short list, but that they wanted him to move to New York. I don't know why that didn't work out, but obviously he wasn't on last season. So I assume that's a possibility. Not that I've heard that he's planning to be on this season, but if it was a possibility last year. People are saying Schwartz, I don't see them adding him full time. I think that ship has sailed. I don't think they would add someone older to the cast.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. And then, of course, we had some of you guys saying, oh my God, what if it's Dylan Efron, who was on Traitors, who's Zac Efron's beautiful, sweet brother. We'd all love it.
Tracy the most.
Yes. I think that's wishful thinking. So you guys will know if you're in the cocktail party, I received an email with names, and I will make that public once we know who's on. Some of the names, and you guys already know this about Amanda and I, but it bears repeating, that if I get a name like I did with Rhode Island Housewives, and the person is not at all a public figure, I'm not going to put their name on a post. Thanks to you guys, our website gets millions of hits a month. I don't think it's appropriate to put Jane Smith's name publicly saying they're going to be on a reality show based off a rumor. If you're in the public arena already, then yeah, I'm going to share your name, like Dylan Efron. So one of the names on there is a guy whose brother was on a reality show, and the family is famous all over TikTok. So his name is Steven Sansone. I think that's how I say it. I'm only saying his name because apparently the family is very famous TikTokers. Not that I know them. I can't even think of the name of the reality show the brother was on. So Do I think that maybe Amanda was teasing this, hoping we would all be like, oh my God, it's Brian Betty, it's Dylan Efron. And really, it's somebody that some fans may know because they're an adjacent reality television family member with a big TikTok following. I think it's possible. I mean, Amanda and Kyle, this is their livelihood. This is their 10th season. They are the king and the queen of Summer House. So she's going to use her fan base and her interviews to get people interested in talking about her show, as anybody would. I don't think that her saying that means that it is a big name that we're all going to know immediately. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we'll find out soon enough because the cocktailers are also very good about being in the Hamptons at the right time and sending us pictures.
Yes.
So, yeah, this is the weekend, guys, that we always start to get even more tea flowing in. So the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives reunion came on Hulu this week. So I have to say I was actually really surprised because you guys have heard us talk about how I feel like the show kind of dragged a little bit this season, like that the drama was good, but that it felt like each episode could have been shorter. But it was about an hour and a half, I think. I watched it in a couple of sittings, and there was a lot more juicy revelations that we definitely hadn't heard before. Some like more just good salacious gossip, and then some sad stuff. Nick Viall was the host. I have mostly positive feelings about him and the job that he did. I think overall, he did a good job, but he definitely shows his biases, which, if you think about it, so does Andy, and so do some of the other good hosts. I think watching Nick versus like a Nick and Vanessa Lachey on Love is Blind, like Nick Viall blows it out of the water. So just to give you guys some frame of reference.
Yeah, I think people are very critical of him, and I'm not sure why. Maybe because they didn't like him on his season of The Bachelor. I didn't watch it, right? So I know him from his podcast, and I know him from this reunion. He doesn't bother me. I do agree that he shows his biases a little bit. I think he's a good host. I think he's good in this role.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with him.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to ask the hard questions on his pod or on the show, which is good. So before we get into all the stuff that happens with the cast, I learned some things. You guys know that I am very interested in religion. I think Mormon culture is really interesting. So I learned some things. I'm guessing maybe you did too, that I hadn't heard of. So we've heard that unmarried Mormon couples will engage in soaking, which, guys, by the way, I'm going to use some terms here. So if you're in the car with your kids, just hit the, fast forward mark for a second. So soaking is the act of insertion sexually, but not moving. Because apparently the moving is what's considered sex.
Stop it.
Yep. Okay, so I knew that one. But then we also learned what docking and derfing are, which are both forms of dry humping, which I told Justin Anderson on the podcast a couple of weeks ago that I find dry humping to be a lost art. But my most favorite, I'd never heard of this. It's what they call the BYU Super Weekend, where couples, BYU is the friggin' young university where a lot of Mormons go to college. This is where couples go to Vegas, get married, have sex all weekend, and then they have the marriage annulled.
Okay, so I want to not offend anyone, but what the hell is this? So I too had heard of soaking. Okay, so all weekend you're going to have sex. So technically being married is better than divorce or annulment when it's all premeditated, right?
Yeah.
I think it would be different if these wild kids, we know they're not getting drunk, so they have too much soda and they decide to get married. In the heat of the moment, have sex, wake up and go, oh, we shouldn't have done this. Let's get this annulled. But when it's premeditated, I think that is so much worse than just having sex before marriage and being safe. But I feel like, is this one of those things that a couple of people do it and then everybody talks about it like it's common? Or is this really widespread? And we're going to need our Mormon folks, because we have some, to let me know, and I know that they will.
Yeah, please do. Because I Googled it because I was so entertained by this whole concept. I didn't see a lot about it. So I don't know if it's like one of those things that was like back in the day when Urban Dictionary was like a bigger thing. Like maybe a couple of people have done it and then they name it. I don't know. Yeah, but wild. I agree. So let's start with Taylor and Dakota. So they tell us they're no longer together. They also say to Nick, though, that they are still having sex. Dakota wants more, but Taylor doesn't trust him and says that she never will, because even since the end of season 2 and before the reunion taping, which I think was in April, she's heard even more about his cheating and caught him lying even more, even just weeks before the reunion. And like this was one of those where I felt like Nick was way harder on Taylor than he was on Dakota.
And I also think that Dakota wants to be with her, and Taylor senses this because Taylor's making a lot of money now.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor's famous. Taylor has all this attention, and Dakota wants it. But what he doesn't want is to be monogamous and treat her well. And I wish she would stop having sex with him.
Yeah.
I think that like her insecurities are overwhelming. And I think, I mean, we watched her with her family and we watched how they treated her. And I think she just has so much healing to do. And I wish for her to be in therapy and to find that healing and to find a partner who values her.
Yeah. And to find her own strength and validation from within and not seek it out in a partner. I agree. Okay, so then we have Jessie, who cocktailers know. Jessie is the one who looks like Demi. Jessie is the one who has a hair salon. Cocktailers know that she was reported, and by reported, I mean like a cocktailer saw her making out with Marciano in public in LA. And at the end of season 2, Marciano meets with Layla and tells Layla that nothing happened with Demi, because you guys will remember Demi and Marciano were acting very, very flirty, and there was a lot of talk about that during Vanderpump Villa. So Marciano says nothing happens to me, but that he slept with Jessie multiple times. Nick asks Jessie about it, and she says she can't talk about it because it's a central storyline of season 3, which we'll see.
Jessie is the one who online accused of assaulting her, right?
No, Demi implied.
Implied, okay.
Yes, and kind of went with this kind of victim route, which also gets kind of discussed on the reunion, because we hear this wild recording of Demi and Brett on the phone with Jen and Zac, and Zac thought to record it. And what essentially they're like, okay, well, here's what you're going to say, Jen, about the situation. So they're totally busted trying to cover up the story. But Jen still doesn't say what actually really happened. But I think this is going to be a big part of season 3, because we hear, anyway, Demi did not come to the reunion either, but she did do a one-on-one sit down with Nick before the reunion.
If you expect me to believe that she couldn't cancel her family vacation to go to the reunion,
Disneyland?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. We all see through that. I'm not surprised her head has gotten so big that she demanded a one-on-one sit down. I am surprised that Hulu let her get away with it, especially we know she's going to be on season 3. There just must be good drama there that it's worth it to them.
Well, I think that's exactly what it is, because I think there is, and maybe it was almost on purpose, because there is so much drama there and a lot of it is going to be happening in season 3, that maybe Hulu didn't want to give it away.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But wanted to have a reunion because we wanted it.
And we see in the preview for season 3, which looks so good, by the way, that it looks like Demi gets accused of paying Marciano off to make up the whole thing about him and Jessie in order to take the heat off Demi. And Jesse's going to even give Marciano a lie detector test. I mean, it's messy.
Yeah.
So not only did Jen and Zac have that recording of the phone call, but there are text messages between Demi and Marciano that completely cross the line, in my opinion, including her talking about swallowing male ejaculate. I don't like saying the C word. Sending emojis that are a clam, eggplant, and water squirting all in a row.
Yeah. Demi and Marciano definitely hooked up, period.
Yeah.
Those emojis, you're not sending that unless you're hooking up. Her not showing up to the reunion solidified it. I think that, yeah, I mean, we're seated for season 3. These people are wild, out of their minds. On another sad note, so saddened to hear Connor tell his story about being sexually assaulted as a boy. You know, he was very honest in the way he spoke about it and about his abuse and how it's contributed to his need for validation, his addiction to porn. Yeah, that was hard to hear, and sending him love.
Yeah. And I think he was very brave to share that. And he takes he takes all the accountability for, you know, he doesn't blame his abuse, but he explains that this is part of what got him to some of the bad behaviors and that he's put in so much work, and that he shares the story with hopes that other people can realize they're not alone and that, you know, that there's hope. And it was quite a moment.
It was. We find out at the end of the reunion that Whitney and Jen will both be competing on the next season of Dancing with the Stars. Amanda, is this making us watch Dancing with the Stars again?
I mean, I think so, especially with the rumor that Sierra will be on too. I do love watching it with my daughter. And
Sure.
I think Whitney and Jen are both, like, Whitney has been like a professionally trained dancer, and Jen is a good dancer. So it'll be fun to watch them compete and see who they get partnered with and how far each of them get.
Okay, but, you know, these crazy Mormon swingers, are they going to be hooking up with their partners? We know that these Dancing with the Stars, there are always cheating rumors. So Mormon cheating seems to like fit in perfectly. And you can't tell me that the network and the Dancing with the Stars producers don't recognize this. Come on, I know it's a family show, but the tabloids and the gossip behind gets us to watch.
Yeah.
I say someone get Gleb, the serial cheater, as their dancing partner, and I can already write the post about it now.
Oh my gosh.
I could preemptively write posts about them cheating and know that they would probably come true.
If Zac flipped out this much about Jen going to Chippendales,
Could you imagine?
he's gonna lose his mind. He's gonna lose his mind. Like seeing his wife dancing, because I mean, when they're dancing, like they're all up in each other's business. And they're part of it is selling the sexiness. Like there's gonna be a lot of drama with that alone.
Oh, so much.
Okay, let's talk Next Gen, because we have a lot of insider tea. Before we get to that, we spoke last week about how we are loving Ariana. And at the end of last episode and then beginning of this, she confronts Ava's comment. Her comment was like, I can't believe Ariana is starting a fashion line. And then we see the whole thing play out.
I think the common thread, which is funny, is that the non-Bravo kids are acting like they're so much better. Not Georgia, but certainly, well, I mean, Georgia in a way, like they kind of act like they're above it because they're real New Yorkers. And certainly Ava and Charlie are acting that way. God help Charlie. We'll get to him.
Yeah.
I have to give Gia credit. Say what you want about the Bravo kids, but they've all been having each other's back. They're supporting each other. Some might say Gia speaks on other people's behalf too much, but I kind of think that's endearing. I like that about her. They must get it from their mom. You know, they're used to the drama and the nonsense. Yeah. They really are. I don't know. It seems like they're real. We know that Ariana and Riley are like really tight. We saw the scene with Kandi and Todd with the two of them, but also in real time. Like Ariana was on Watch What Happens Live this week, and she's like, I speak to Riley every day. We're best friends. And I love that.
I love that too.
Ava's like, we know you're Rachel Roy's daughter. It was her playing like a deer in headlights. That her comment is being interpreted as rude is a joke. Say what you mean what you say. You didn't expect Ariana to confront you. You expected some talk behind the back. And I'm happy she's confronting. And
yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with you that the intention behind that statement was kind of shitty. But I also think Ava barely said anything, and Gio was the one who kind of jumped down her throat before she even really said or clarified or really said anything all that offensive. And, you know, you're exactly right. Gio knows reality TV. And I think she also knows that if she's not directly involved with drama, she needs to get involved with drama to get camera time, you know, and then Ava, you know, either she's not a confrontational person or she's just getting her reality TV legs under her.
I don't think it's that she's not a controversial.
Controversial.
I think that she runs off and we see her like run to the bar because I think that she didn't expect them to step to her. Mm-hmm. I think she expected them to take it. I think there's a difference between not being confrontational and never having to be confrontational because nobody dares fuck with you.
Yeah. That's actually, I think that's probably a good point, or probably right. I'm also starting to wonder, guys, if we have another it's not about the pasta situation with Charlie and Georgia. So, like, running through this entire episode, he's texting her over a series of weeks about how she hasn't returned a borrowed $200 Sonos or whatever speaker. I know we know a lot more about Charlie now, but like, does a trust fund baby who says you have no idea the amount of money I've spent in the past 2 weeks, does he really care about a $200 speaker, or is this about something else?
I don't know if it's control. I don't know. You know what I was thinking as I was watching the episode? We're just meeting Georgia's boyfriend. I wonder how long they've been together. And I think that Charlie may be mad about it. I think maybe he got a lot of attention from Georgia when she was single. And now that she's a boyfriend, I'm not even saying they necessarily hooked up, which I think they certainly may have. But I think that he's jealous that her attention is elsewhere. That's my opinion. That's what I was picking up on. He acted like
get this whole boyfriend thing. I think they are such an odd couple, by the way.
They are. And it seems new. I don't know. Charlie seems mad, and I don't think it's about a speaker. Maybe it's control. Maybe he's mad that Georgia isn't kissing his ring, considering that he got her on the show, as he says. He acted like an animal at that lunch.
Yeah.
Leaving all of them with bills at clubs, which we heard all of them say, bringing these girls to the table, having them drink up all the liquor, and then being like, I'll Venmo you, when you have people who are not trust fund babies paying for it, or like you have Riley, who obviously is a wealthy girl from her mom. It's just all a bad look for him. But you know what? Little did we know at the beginning of the season that we found out, or I forget because I feel like we may have known this, but when I don't, and I've told you guys this, when I don't know a reality star, I can't remember. But we reposted that he filed for bankruptcy. Charlie.
In 2023. So that would have been the year before they filmed. So we have a little info about this just because I think some of the details are interesting. So in his filing, he disclosed that he was unemployed, living off money from friends and family, that he had $1,500 in a checking account and no property or significant assets, that he was living with his parents. And
can I just say something about that? I do find it crazy that a quote-unquote trust fund baby at 29 years old, father hasn't bought him like a one-bedroom in Manhattan in his name.
Right. Just because
why is he renting? Right. Why is he renting? Or does he live in a property under his father's name?
It's under his parents' name.
Right.
So, yeah. What else was interesting in here? As his personal belongings, he listed $1,000 in clothing and $2,000 worth of electronics. No investment stocks, life insurance, retirement. His monthly income was $1,000, including $300, and then his spending matched his income, including $300 spent on entertainment, clubs, and recreation. And he had $38,000 in credit card debt when he filed.
Again, $38,000 is a huge sum of money to regular folk. I don't understand. Maybe his dad is just sick of his shit. Wild.
Yeah.
We also got some Next Gen tea. We got an anonymous email. We don't know who it's from. We don't know its accuracy. But it said that Adeline, Shannon Beador's daughter, lives in New York City. She's been approached to join next season, and now that she's 21. So then we posted that up, I don't know, a week or two ago. Then yesterday, Julius Michael, who you guys will know as Lindsay Hubbard, Margaret Joseph's hairdresser, posted a picture of Shannon's other daughter, Sophie, and wrote, "The next generation is on fire," which seems to be a hint that she'll be on. Is it Sophie? Is it Adeline? Is it both of them? Are they just pushing this narrative? They're seeing how well someone like Kim Zolciak's daughter, Ariana, is being received. You get on a show these days, you get a huge following, all of a sudden you can be an influencer, you can post links, you can get brand deals, you can start a business and have great visibilities. Are the Beador girls looking to hop on that train? It seems they're looking to hop on that train, whether it's legitimate on Bravo's end. I could see them, we know that they love to feature Shannon. I could see them wanting her on a la Meredith, a la Teresa. I totally could see it. And I don't know if it's one or the other or both. Those are the twins, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It's the oldest daughter's name. She's the one she lives in. Doesn't she go to school in Texas, though? Or maybe she's already graduated.
I can't think of her name.
Or maybe we'll see one of the Beador daughters on Next Gen LA.
Well, they say that, yeah, maybe one's going to the New York.
Yeah, one's going to one, one's going to the other.
It's possible. And we'll get Shannon on both.
So there's one part of the show that's kind of bugging me that I want your opinion on. It does feature the housewives a lot more heavily than I expected. Do you think that like Seth and Meredith and to a lesser extent Teresa, that they're too involved in the show? Like, I think it's good to see them here and there. And I absolutely loved seeing Kandi and Todd with Riley and Ariana. But do we need to see Seth and Meredith at most of the parties? I say no.
I say no. I think they were looking to hook an audience, right? I think that the scope is, and our kids are a little bit younger, obviously, well, quite a bit younger, but maybe the idea was like get the moms to watch with the kids to hook a next generation of Bravo lovers, which makes sense, right? Because mom wants to tune in and she's like, hey, dear child, come sit with me.
Yeah.
Look at these young kids acting a fool. It's like my housewives, right? So I think going forward, I don't think they would be as heavily featured. Yeah. I think it's appropriate, like Kandi's scene, which we loved, where it's like, oh, like catching up on the last few weeks and how things are going. I agree with you. We don't need Georgia hosting Meredith's caviar party. That's taking it too far. I think the lunches to discuss the drama with the moms is cool because, you know, you're going to the head gossip queens, the housewives, to get the advice. I like seeing Teresa. I like seeing Meredith. I love seeing Kandi in that capacity.
I love Kandi when Ariana comes and joins them and they're talking about how they like talk every day and they're becoming best friends. And Kandi like gestures at them both and saying, I love this for you. Like, I thought that was super cool.
I did too.
Always want to.
I teared up a little, honestly.
Yeah. And then you could see their other younger kids kind of running around in the background.
Yeah. But Riley needs to slow down with her spending. Give me a freaking break. I was shocked because I know that, you know, Kandi is very wealthy, but Kandi is very smart with her money. And you could see that she was like, we are having a real conversation off camera about this because this is not going to be a thing. I
mean, seriously, too, like Riley, that behavior is not like, it's going to be real hard when you're trying to buy yourself more time.
Yeah.
For your year dead.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go back to the Beadors because of the news from the last couple weeks. So TMZ announced that David Beador has a restraining order against his off again, whatever, wife Lesley. So in this restraining order, he accused Lesley of physical abuse, called her a pathological liar in the court documents. So this was filed June 17th, which is important. You'll know why in a second. In the documents, he says, Lesley has physically abused me on several occasions, and only a small portion of these incidents have been detailed in previous domestic violence actions. And then also in the documents, he, funny enough, accuses her of marrying him for money, says that she's even admitted it, which that part I'm like, okay, come on, he knew that. And in the documents, he also says that after a June 11th physical altercation, Lesley also accused David of being gay. The court order says...
I think she's accused him of that before.
I think she has too. I think you're right. Court order says Lesley has to be 10 yards away from David, his home, his work, except for custody exchanges, and that she must vacate his Newport Beach home. So, guys, just to be clear, I do not think domestic abuse is funny. Obviously, it's not. It's not funny because it's a girl on a guy. Like, I'm not poking fun at any of that. That's not funny. I do find it funny that David seems to just now be realizing that she married him for money.
But here's the crazy part.
Yeah.
So this is all swirling. TMZ's posting it. We're reposting it. I get a DM.
And remember, guys, June 17th is when he filed a restraining order.
I get the DM. Hey, B, they were spotted together last Friday, June 27th at Pelican Hill at the pool, which was before the restraining order, as Amanda pointed out. I get a DM last night, which was Wednesday, July 2nd. B, David Beador and Lesley are currently at Montage Big Sky, Montana. And I posted the pictures, which were very funny because they weren't talking to each other. She was on her phone and he looked to be half asleep. And that's exactly what the photo showed. Talk about karma. I mean, what an insufferable pair of people.
I think they both deserve to be miserable with each other because they both seem like miserable people.
Yes. Just to wrap up our Next Gen, we were told, we got an email, actually, we weren't told. So it's an email. Our emails for Next Gen have been pretty legit. People are leaving Next Gen. Charlie, it says on his own accord, and his friends Shy and Dylan. Some newbies will be added. The email also said, funny how all the Bravo OGs are the safest and everyone was mad they were joining. I want to also add that and get your opinion on this. I think Bravo is cutting their losses with Charlie. I think they hoped he would bring the hedge fund, spoiled brat vibe. And with that comes the downside. We've all watched Gossip Girl. By the way, somebody is like, B, if you call Dan the boyfriend one more time, he was fucking Gossip Girl. Put some respect on his name. And I always forget that.
So right.
Right?
Because we don't find out until the very end of the show. Like,
I honestly always thought it was his sister, to be honest.
I did too, actually. That's funny that you say that.
But no, we're watching Charlie verbally attack female cast members, and even so far as to say I would slap the shit out of you if you were a man. Yeah, bye. I think Charlie being spotted with the asshole crypto bros who kidnapped and tortured the Italian crypto guy. He was in the photos when the guy was being arrested, and he has a connection to them. I think that Bravo is like, okay, this kid is not just a spoiled brat, he is a seedy character, which is putting it mildly. I think they hoped he would be more entertaining, but they're like, adios.
I would agree because, like, I actually think he could be a total jerk and be fine on the show, and like, but what I don't think is that they want is, I do believe that email that we got a few months ago saying that Next Gen, Bravo believes that Next Gen is the next big franchise, and they don't want Charlie's, I don't know, peripheral.
They're dealing with getting rid of Jax, and they don't want another one on their hands.
Yeah, well, and just like that is a whole other level of dark and scary. And while he hasn't been charged with anything, just him being on the periphery of that situation could mar the show's name. And so I think you're right. I think they're cutting their losses.
See you when we see you. See you never.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a funny story about See You Never.
Oh.
When I was in college, this is like so random, but I'm going to tell it. I had a graduation party and a lot of people came. And so one of my friends, who I'm not going to say their name, let a bunch of the people slept at my house in my basement, and her parents were away. She was like, a bunch of them can crash in my basement. So some girls, some boys, not hookups, nothing, just crashed in her basement. She gets a call. Her parents are on their way home. She's like, oh shit, everyone's got to go. So she's getting them all out of there. And one of the guys that we went to college with turns to her, and instead of being like, hey, thank you so much for letting us crash in your basement, says to her, bye, see you never. And my friend was like, that asshole, if I ever see him again. I'm like, oh my God. So I always say, like, I'll say to my friend when I see her. Bye. See you never.
You never.
But yeah, that's Charlie vibes all day long. Bye, Charlie.
Bye, Charlie.
And I think next week we'll dive more into Miami because Miami is great. I mean, I assume you guys are watching because you're our people. But what did you think of the new housewife, Stephanie?
I already like her.
I do too. I mean, she took a plane to pick up dogs.
Which I love. Like, these are the kinds of things that we need to be doing in private jets.
There are rumors all over, and I need to look more into them because I have some emails and some DMs that in real life they're having financial trouble.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hadn't read that.
Yeah.
Which would make sense.
Yes. It would absolutely make sense. We love you guys. Have a great 4th. We got to book our next Zoom.
Yeah. Happy, safe. And for our non-American listeners, just have a great weekend. And we'll see you guys next week.
Till next time. Bye, guys. What's up, cocktailers? We want to thank you, as always, for listening to Cocktails and Gossip. Because of you, we've hit some amazing milestones, had some hilarious conversations, and have grown a truly amazing community. If you haven't already followed our podcast, hit the follow button in the top right of your Apple Podcast player, the follow button under the show logo on Spotify, or the subscribe button on Google Podcasts. We thrive on you, our audience. So make sure to tell all your gossip-loving friends about us too. And if you want to get all the tea, join our membership cocktail party by going to bravoandcocktails.com/join. Our members get access to the exclusive tea we post, the weekly podcast without ads, plus another additional bonus podcast every week. And of course, members also get to join us on our monthly live cocktail party Zoom, where we talk about the latest tea and even share tea that's just too hot to put in writing. Last, but maybe best, our members get access to the Cocktail Party Discord, where you can chat with Amanda, me, and all of the other cocktailers as well. There are always some great combos and hilarious comments happening in Discord. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.